put money in your pocket. That crypto wallet, that bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bleez Crypto Show. My name is Bleez. We're here to talk about this crazy crypto world. And we're going to ask a question today. Since it's Thursday, it's Throwback Thursday. I want to know from you in the comment section right now, what is the first crypto that you ever bought? We're going old school right now. What is it that you bought first that started your crypto journey, no matter where you are? And we're going to be asking these questions going forward. So make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Let's talk about what's going on in the market. So there's a bunch of news happening right now. Does it lead to a pump? I don't know that's the case, but I do think that the market is ready for a massive recovery. Amit, the first one that he bought was Shiba Inu. Kevin Sankey with Bitcoin as his first purchase. My first purchase, by the way, for full disclosure, was Ethereum. And the reason that I bought Ethereum was just so that I could buy another crypto called Keanu. So technically, my first crypto that I was holding was called Keanu. But I had to buy Ethereum in order to get in there. BNB from Francis, the main vein 7 says Lunk was his first purchase. Whew. I hope it was before. I hope you made a bunch of money before it crashed or anything like that, or you got in on some kind of massive dip. Jay Manuel with the Shiba Inu. Looks like Shiba Inu is going to be the winner here early on. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm going to assume that Bitcoin's probably going to be the biggest one that everybody has, but I'm interested to know. So make sure you put your comment down there and let's figure it out. What is the number one crypto in the throwbacks? All right, so let's talk about the news. Number one, U.S. President promises deal with China on everything as Trump insider begins to close Bitcoin shorts. Is a Bitcoin recovery ahead? Everything right now signals towards a pump in the market. Donald Trump doing everything that he can right now to make that deal with China, within reason, by the way, to make that deal with China. And now the Trump whale insider is closing the Bitcoin shorts. That means that they expect, by the way, if they thought this market was going down, they would keep this open. They would leave their short in position and they would just continue to profit on it. So something has shifted in the administration, which is going to lead to some price upward mobility. There's a lot to unpack here. So the next one is Ethereum price poised for a breakout as Wyckoff reaccumulation meets BlackRock's 110 million purchase. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's see what Ethereum looks like today. There was some outflow there, but hit the wrong button. Duh, dumb. So yesterday, BlackRock pulled in 110 million new Ethereum, but the overall market was down 18.9 million. Still some movement, still a lot of things moving around. We got Toshi. ETH for Saitama. We got somebody else who did the same thing. You had to buy Ethereum so that you could buy something else. So yeah, that's awesome. Crypto Starship, I did the same. I didn't do it for Saitama. I did buy Saitama early. I made a little bit of money off of Saitama, but my big one was Keanu. Also, another one, Carlos says that he bought Lunk as well. Matty B bought whatever's gay, you know. I don't know, some token with a rainbow on it, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, welcome, Matty B. Glad you're here, buddy. So anyway, Ethereum moving into BlackRock a little bit more. That's a pretty good sign. Again, another bullish scenario. Now, overall, that doesn't play out because we had a negative day, but we had a big positive day followed by a tiny negative day as outflows. Like people are trying to find what position they should take right now. And when you see that Bitcoin Whale Insider or the Trump White House Insider, whatever the wallet's called, when you see them canceling their shorts, there's a bunch of people right now who are going to decide to go long. Now, notice that we didn't say that he went long, by the way. Just closed the shorts. So they're looking for that long entry position. What they're doing right now is they're taking where the market is, and they're probably making a bet at this point that the market could still dip a little bit through natural means. And then you can buy whatever that dip is, or you can maybe set an order for a purchase at a certain level, but you wanted to lock in your profits at this point. Nonetheless, no matter what, they are thinking that the market is about to reverse, or they're unsure and that it's going to be sideways chop. But there's still money to be made in that sideways chop. So we'll see how this plays out. So what else is going on? Senators reaffirm. This is very interesting. You guys know how I feel. Yeah, Daniel, matter of fact, for anybody who's wondering, Coinbase is going to be fixing their wallet on Saturday, I was told. So you might have a problem seeing the value of some of your cryptos in your Coinbase wallet for the next couple of days. There is a fix being worked on right now. It's just an API communication error. So it'll be fixed in short order. Your funds are safe. TKO Attic asks, when new Saitama launch? You know, I think it's dead at this point. I think finally it's dead. If you remember, there have been a couple of homages. One was called Solana, I want to say. Then it was the Saitama Wolfpack SWP token, which they rebranded to the Solana Wolfpack and removed the reference to Saitama. The Saitama thing has played itself out. And I think that at this point, there's not really... At some point, there was some upside for people in terms of let's run it back or something like that. And of course, remember, we had that first Saitama Reborn, which we got like 20 million market cap off of it. I think it went to 120 million because some weirdo threw a bunch of money in and then cashed it back out immediately. So, you know, there was a moment in time there where it looked crazy, but at the end of the day, what mattered was went to 20 million market cap, 17 million market cap, something like that. We all got in, I think, at a pretty good rate at that point. And hopefully we all cashed out with a nice big profit. Then, of course, that one kind of died down. That was Faltron, by the way. He took over somebody else's project. And then that's where SWP was formed. And remember, we ran that up to a 2 million market cap, but we got in at about 100,000 market cap. So it was a really good run. But I think that the paradigm since then has just diminished and diminished and diminished. It got played and played and played and played. And when you go look at Saitama and you start to run it on like Dex Screener or Dex Tools, you just see a myriad of Saitama related ones, to the point that nobody's even throwing money at something like that anymore. They're looking for different narratives because that one just didn't work and was not working. And, you know, when you're a grifter in crypto, you bleed that horse dry. And that's what they did, is they just bled it dry until there's no more hype that has to do with Saitama. Not that there ever really was, but also it was a 7 billion market cap. So they did something right. I mean, not legally right, but I mean, they moved the chart, they moved the market, and they had a lot of people paying attention to Saitama at one point. Anyway, so this was interesting here. Brian Armstrong, who I don't trust, came out yesterday publicly stating that he thinks that Democrats are serious, that both sides are actually serious about legislation for the upcoming crypto market structure bill called the Clarity Act. Now, it was very weird that Brian Armstrong bothered to say that Democrats were on board, because the Democrats just gave a list of asks, if you remember, for their proposal for the market structure bill, which basically tries to ban DeFi. That's a really weird situation to come all the way back from and say, oh yeah, they're on board. That seems a little bit weird. So I'd like to see more information before we really figure out, you know, until we develop a thesis about what's really going on there. I think we need to really kind of zoom back out here and see what is it that Democrats are looking for in the legislation. Most of us are being told that Democrats merely want control. They want to make sure that they're carrying water for the banks and institutions. And that's just to slow things down. That's the purpose behind that, is to slow things down a little bit. Now, there's going to be some questions raised along the way. So again, I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll see what happens when Democrats actually put their pen to paper and start talking about it again. According to sources cited by Ellie Tourette, friend of the channel, both meetings reflected determination to make faster progress. Lawmakers and industry leaders discussed advancing the crypto market structure bill after recent bipartisan talk. This builds on earlier efforts, such as David Sachs' meeting with Senate Republicans to accelerate the bill's progress. The first meeting, hosted by Democrats, began with over 30 minutes of introductions from industry reps. Each participant outlined key priorities they wanted reflected in the crypto market structure bill. Senators cautioned crypto executives not to serve as political allies for Republicans, noting that confidence had been shaken following a recent DeFi proposal leak. They warned that public disputes over negotiations could derail the bill's progress. Now, listen to what we just said here. The Democratic senators said, hey, look, there was a leak of our bullshit bill, and we don't want that to happen. We want you guys to keep secrets. Shh. It's weird. It's weird. Still, the senators assured attendees that no slow walking was happening. They emphasized that they remain committed to delivering comprehensive legislation that addressed the needs of both regulators and innovators. Now, Republicans are much more broadly open to what's going on. The other thing they highlighted was the need to clearly define the meaning of DeFi. This will help ensure the proposed regulation covers that sector completely. The discussion produced two concrete recommendations. The first is to concentrate oversight on intermediaries rather than blockchains. Then there's need to have lawmakers and industry leaders review the bill line by line in an extended joint session. The meeting comes amid mounting pressure on Congress to finalize the bill before the year's end. As the senators appear optimistic, development may be quick when the existing disagreements on the DeFi provisions end. So there we go. Russ ended up going to jail, and he, I don't know for how long or anything like that, but he ended up going to jail, prison. And then he dimed out everybody. Like, he turned state's evidence. Like, he dimed everybody out. And then he explained to them how they did it and stuff like that. And he cooperated. And then Manny, who had been fleeing from authorities along with Nam for a long period of time. All of those guys have been fleeing from authorities. Most were caught. Nam Tran is in, I want to say he's in Vietnam now, and has not been seen or heard from since. So, and there's no extradition where he is. So, I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know. He might get away with it. Also, if you remember, there was another one, V, the original creator of Saitama. She was originally on the team and everything like that. She was part of Inu Finance. She was part of this company called Inu Finance right here. Inu Finance has migrated for contracts, but I'm pretty sure it's dead now. Here's the V2 right here. Yeah, they're not even tracked anymore. There's only 1,700 holders. Let's go look at the market cap here real quick. I think it's pretty dead. I think like it's absolutely been killed. All of her stuff was shut down. So V went to jail. Everybody went to jail except Nam Tran. So lawmakers are targeting the bill by the end of the year. Moving on. Experts warn more crypto bloodbath ahead of CPI data tomorrow. Now, who is this expert? And by the way, I'm not doubting this expert. Crypto market now awaits the CPI. Economists expect the monthly CPI to come in at 0.4, the same as August. This would make the annual CPI rise to 3.1, higher than 2.9 that was printed last month. Meanwhile, core CPI is expected to rise 0.3, the same as the previous month. The market has projected the annual core CPI to remain steady at 3.1. And by the way, that could be fair because even though I told you guys that gas prices were coming down, it's not everywhere that we see it all coming down yet. So you could still be looking at some pockets and some areas where you're not seeing the price come down as much as you would like. And do we have here? I was just wondering, by the way, on Gas Buddy. cheapest gas by state. So you can go and check out the cheapest gas by state. Like if we go to, let's say Kentucky here, $2.24 gas, $2.24 at Circle K in Louisville, Kentucky, 13 minutes ago, $2.24. Illinois, cheapest gas right now is $2.49. In Indiana, $2.49. In Michigan, it's $2.29. In Louisiana, let's see, Louisiana. Jesus Christ. Louisiana doesn't even work. Gross. $2.18. You're seeing gas prices come down to historic lows right now. Well, historic in this decade. So that's a great sign, by the way. That's a really good sign. By the way, when things like this are happening, that does mean that inflation will come down because the cost to deliver goods is suddenly coming down exponentially. And that's exactly what we've needed for a long period of time. So be watching for this CPI. If we don't get the good tick, Derek, we'll save that one. We will save that one for a later time. Bullshit. I'm at a gas station now, and that shit is in $3 in Grand Rapids. GM Zombie Miner. You know what? As a matter of fact, you're right, because I'm in the same area that you are. I'm outside of Chicago. The Whiting refinery caught fire a couple days ago, and there was no damage, but it caught fire the other day, and they're using that to pump up the price by 50 cents a gallon. Gas prices near me were $2.52. This last night, it was $2.49 at a couple of gas stations around my gym. But over by my house, it's $3.29 again. I live in one of those neighborhoods where they have more expensive gas prices. You know, people who look like me pay more or something like that. I don't know what the logic is. But it's on the border of Indiana and Illinois. Like I live like one street on the border is right there. So you got that price action that goes back and forth where people who are coming from Illinois they get that gas price, and you don't go super cheap on that one. You keep it a little bit higher on the fringes so that so it's cheaper, so that people are motivated to come here, but you still make a nice profit off of it. I mean, that's basically what's happening. So yeah, that's what happened. It's $2.49 mostly around me, but $3.29 just blew up for a day or two. You know what I mean? Yeah, cheaper in Indiana, a little bit less expensive in Indiana right now. Matter of fact, it's about a 20-cent differential or 18-cent differential from Illinois to Indiana, not because of delivery, but because of taxes. Anyway, so you're going to see the CPI come down is my point. It's probably going to be October, might not be that month. October might be, well, September certainly was not that month, but it felt a little bit better. Now the question is, can we get it even lower through October so that when we get this November number and we're looking at October, then we're looking at a much lower price. And if we're looking at a much lower price, we're looking at much lower transportation costs. We're looking at much lower transportation costs. We're looking at people starting to shave. And you won't see that in the prices. I mean, if eggs were $1.99, they're still going to be $1.99, but they'll be on sale, wink, wink, for $1.79 for a couple of weekends and stuff like that. You will start to see sale prices come into vogue one more time, and then you'll start to see actual prices drop. I mean, that's how retail does it. So you'll see big sales coming very soon because transportation costs are going down. You'll see inflation start to come down. Next up, this has not happened yet, and I have some on their chain, so I'm going to know when it goes live. A couple of years ago, I sent BNB to Coinbase, and Coinbase stole it like a bitch because that's what they do. And Coinbase has confirmed plans to list BNB on its smart chain network, a move long anticipated. The exchange noted that trading will begin once liquidity conditions align across eligible regions. So this was it. Coinbase will add support for BNB on the BNB smart chain. Do not send this asset over other networks or your funds may be lost. The opening of our BNB USDT trading pair will begin when liquidity conditions are met in regions where trading is supported. So It's not there yet, but it will be soon that BNB is tradable on Coinbase. And that's going to be a paradigm shift for BNB. I mean, it's a really good sign that Binance won't have to be Binance.us and that they will merge and move into the United States. I think that's probably coming. Also, expert flags Pi Network team, I don't know if this is true or not, as the source of selling pressure after a reported $1.2 million Pi dump. So anybody has been doing it with the Pi Network. I don't know what's going on over there, but allegedly, and again, I don't have the data on it, but allegedly the team has been selling 1.2 million Pi. Mr. Spock claims the Pi Network core team is responsible for the recent sell pressure, indicates over 1.2 million tokens were dumped, driving the price down nearly 30% in a month. Community members allege only the core team holds enough tokens to cause such a price crash from $3 to 20 cents. It's all possible, by the way. In a recent X post, crypto expert Mr. Spock suggested the Pi Network core team is the likely source of recent selling pressure. By the way, are they not allowed to sell ever? Like, are you supposed to be broke if you're a developer so that you always have to worry about money and you can't focus directly on your project or something like that? Like, I mean, what game are we playing here? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, in most organizations, and I mean, like, I don't know what's going on. By the way, remember, the question of the day, if you haven't, before I get back to this, the question of the day, Throwback Thursday, what is the first crypto that you ever bought? And put it in the comment section down below. Anyway, so in society, in business, everybody gets a paycheck. In crypto, you don't actually always get a paycheck. Most people are expected to work for free or work for tokens. Well, what are they supposed to do? How do you feed your family? How do you pay your bills? And if your answer to that is, well, you should already be rich, that's dumb. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. You have to be able to pay you have to be able to pay yourself. So I don't know that this is a problem. I think people might be over leveraged on Pi. You know what I mean? I mean, that's, to me, I've said it many times that our core team selling Pi because they don't have any other sources of income. There you go. Spock wrote, claiming that the team's only liquidity option has been to sell their own tokens. That's it. We got another one that bought Saitama. You know what? Saitama, I think at this point, has taken the lead. Saitama is now the one. This comes after a Pioneer flagged the sale for 1.2 million tokens. They described the event as awful and urged the project to focus on real-world utility, on-chain transparency, and decentralization. So what they did was they sold 1.2 million Pi tokens for $250,000. And I mean, look, you got to pay yourself. You have to be able to live a life. Other voices within community supported these claims. A commentator asserted that only the core team holds enough Pi volume to drive the token's price from $3 to 20 cents. They also added that no Pioneer had the kind of holdings to cause such a crash. Notably, the team has faced similar allegations in the past. Former executive McPhillip accused the Pi team of misusing $20 million in project funds. According to court documents from 2020, its long-term growth and public credibility have allegedly been hampered by internal conflicts and management rifts. Management that's not getting paid, by the way. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's unbelievable. Anyway, if Selmo comes in, tell him get out of Pi. Now, next up, let's move on here. Eddie RVA Bitcoin. I think that might be another one for Bitcoin. I think we all kind of got Ethereum, first of all, Roy G. Maybe Ethereum's in the lead right now. Somebody let me know. What's the totals here? Who's winning? I don't know if anybody's winning or not on this thing. Huh. Anyway, Cardano, can it save Kadena? For those of you that don't know, Kadena was shut down a couple days ago. The team that runs Kadena is shuttering themselves and they're done with it. Now, for those of you that don't know, Kadena was formed by a bunch of old JP Morgan executives, and it just didn't last. Mononoke. We've got somebody from Mononoke Inu. Unbelievable. I remember when that thing ran. I mean, that ran pretty hot. I think it went over to $1 billion market cap at one point. That was during that last big altcoin season that we had in 2021. So anyway, Kadena, Hoskinson has now reached out to the KDA token amid scam allegations. So Charles Hoskinson publicly reached out to the Kadena community, sparking speculation about a potential collaboration. I don't know that he's going to do anything. I don't know what he's looking to do, but I would imagine that he's going to use it as an opportunity to get people to buy Cardano and not Kadena. In a post on X, Hoskinson signaled possible support or partnership discussions in the wake of the turmoil. His outreach came hours after Kadena. He says, anyone from the Kadena ecosystem want to reach out? So I don't know what he's going to do, but there could be something there. Very interesting. According to Kadena's official statement, however, all business activities and active maintenance have been halted due to harsh market conditions. This is not the first. It's not going to be the last. The remaining team will only oversee the network's transition process. Now, it's going to go to a fully decentralized proof of work, and it will still be there, but it will not be supported. It will just be a blockchain in the wild, kind of like Luna Classic right now. So no leadership, no direction, and we'll see whether something comes of it or not. But if you had Kadena, certainly would get out of it right now. By the way, this is another testament to market conditions. Find market partners. Find market partners that have projects in the real world that they're earning revenue from. I promise you, you've got to do that, because otherwise something like this is going to happen, and it will happen again. And once we get past this bull run, and by the way, we haven't seen the altcoin season yet. We haven't seen the full flush banana zone frenzied rotation of capital that we will end up seeing. We haven't seen that yet. But after we see that, there's a lot of cryptos that are going to collapse. And I mean, they're going to epically collapse. Look at what just happened here. And remember, by the way, there were a lot that were going to collapse at the end of 2020 as well, I should say. And then we got that big bull run going. And then once the bull run really started to take off and the money started to flow everywhere, it helped to propel some dead cryptos into huge market caps. And that allowed them to continue on and continue to build their projects. But ultimately, bad projects will succumb to market pressure. Bad projects will always eventually lose out. And the ones that are creating revenue, the ones that are doing money-related stuff, the ones that are making money, those are the ones that are going to survive. They may not be the sexy ones, they may not be the fancy ones, but they will be the ones that survive. So, ask yourself at this point, how much money does Cardano generate? Ask yourself, how much does Ethereum generate? Ask yourself, how much does Solana generate? Again, not from just fees, okay? Not just from people trading, okay? How much real world capital is coming into these markets? That's a business, all right? The business, by the way, is not pumping a token up and then dumping the price. That's not it is a business. It just should be an illegal business. But you have an idea, you bring the idea to market, and people start to invest in your idea. That should be the fundamentals of cryptocurrency. But it became and has become a gambling thing. So, you know what I mean? Derek Hines says, Tucker is right. There is no DeFi. Crypto was created by the government. Tucker Carlson's an idiot. Okay. If that was his dumbass take, then LOL, because I understand where he's coming from. He's coming from the place of a, religious, zealous idiot. And that's fine, except that it's also not real, because a whole bunch of incredibly smart people for the last, what are we at right now? It's 2025. So for the last 16 years, everybody has been reading the contract for Bitcoin. Everybody's checked the code for Bitcoin, line by line by line. If there were a backdoor for the CIA, it would have been discovered and found. If it was the NSA, it would have been discovered and would have been found. If there were certain things, it would have been discovered and would have been found. And in the event that the NSA is suddenly Satoshi Nakamoto, then at the end of the day, they sell their Bitcoin. We go down to 80,000, and then we build, because they no longer hold 1.2. I think it's 1.2 million Bitcoin. Isn't that the largest holder? Satoshi's still at 1.2 million. So he sells 1.2 million Bitcoin, and then we move on because they can't use it for anything. We've already done this again for 16 years. That code has been checked, double checked, triple checked, rechecked, and checked again. There's nothing about it that's going to create and cause a problem. So it's silly. I understand again why he says it. He's stupid. I understand that. He's also a weirdo. He's also a conspiracy theorist. So I get it, except he's just wrong. And that's okay. He's been wrong before. X Fox News, bruh. I'm still salty about Ethereum moving to POS. I think they could have done the mining community a better solid and did like a hybrid proof of stake, proof of work. No, proof of work is not fast enough. The problem was very simple. The problem is if you want to be in the future here and you want to become a functioning business model. Look at the difference between Bitcoin and everything else. Bitcoin is not a functioning business model. Bitcoin is a store of value. It's an investment. Okay, it's nothing more. Ethereum is attempting to be a place where people transact real world money and they earn real world money, not just from the price of their token pumping or the coin pumping. So it's a different paradigm. Smart contracts were created on Ethereum. Smart contracts became the thing where you made tokens. Smart contracts became the way that you created the dApps. Fine, except again, that's real world use. So in order for Ethereum to keep up with the world, they had to do something better. Now, I don't know if that's the best move. Maybe I wouldn't have done the same thing. Maybe I would have done like you said, and maybe looked for something better than proof of stake. But proof of stake is where you get settled the fastest. And it's still incredibly secure. It is not like we're getting constantly hacked on the Ethereum chain. It's not happening. What's happening is third-party protocols, bridges get hacked. Things like that end up getting hacked because they have weaknesses that are not found. Those things can get hacked. But the Ethereum blockchain by itself seems to be doing just fine. Doesn't mean that it won't forever. Doesn't mean that there won't be a hack at some point. Doesn't mean it won't happen. But for right now, it's been safe and secure. So, and to get deep into it, I don't think that there is a way, I'm sure. But again, it's going to be third party. It's going to be from an open window from a third party. And Ethereum isn't doing that. That's not part of their project. That's not part of their program. So I don't think that that's a concern for anybody or anywhere. It's silly to me that we've been having those kind of conversations. It's important that we have them. But again, I don't think that it's really a thing. So I was a miner and wanted to mine that shit. That would be a good, again, I think that it's nice when you see that. But again, all it takes is 32 Ethereum and you can still be a miner. Just put 32 Ethereum in and, let it sit and work for you. CPI doesn't affect anything. That's not true. CPI affects everything. It just doesn't affect everything on the day that it's released. The CPI comes in tomorrow and it looks really good. We'll get a temporary pump and then we'll get a dump back down because people are going to take profit along the way. If the CPI comes in super hot, the market will dump before pumping the next day. But everybody already placed their bets in the last 30 days since the last CPI. The CPI absolutely moves the market. It just doesn't move it immediately. Everybody, after we get the CPI data, is going to react to it. And then 2 days later, we're going to start building up to the next CPI. And if we think the rates are going to be cut, then prices are going to go up. If we think the rates are going to go down, or we think the rates are going to go down, then price is going to go up. If we think that the rate is going to go up, the prices are going to go down. If we think it's going to go sideways, good luck. We're going to consolidate. It's actually pretty simple. It just takes a little while for it to all play out. But it does have an effect. Kobayashi, you can't make this up. The Trump administration is outperforming almost all hedge funds. Every investment is up at least 80%, with two investments nearing 150. This does not include the soon-to-come quantum computing stocks, now worth $17.2 billion. Absolutely crazy to see that happening. Chinese state oil majors suspend Russian oil purchases on fears over new U.S. sanctions. Guess what? The Trump administration is stepping in and messing with oil prices, not necessarily badly, by the way, but for the benefit of the United States. Also, JP Morgan new report stating gold prices could exceed 8,000 an ounce by 2028 as investors increasingly use it to hedge equity risk. This would make gold a 60 trillion asset in 3 years. Absolutely crazy. By the way, gold did reverse. We'll look at that in just a little while. Also, Trump is going to make an announcement today at 3 p.m. We don't know what it is. Every time the White House teases an announcement, half the country stocks popcorn and the other half checks their portfolios. By 3 p.m., cable news will look like a countdown to the Super Bowl. Whatever it is, one thing's certain, it will trend faster than coffee spills on Monday mornings. So we'll see what he said. Who knows? Trump canceled the Budapest summit with Putin yesterday, announced Russia oil sanctions this morning, targeting Rosenfeld and Lukoil. U.S.-China talks start Friday in Malaysia. Xi-Trump summit November 1st with a 100% tariff deadline same day. Any announcement today likely escalates one of these tracks. Markets already pricing geopolitical premium with oil up 10% in 48 hours, gold volatile. So a lot going on in the markets, a lot of pump and dump in different directions, and we'll see what ends up happening right there. Meanwhile, no bull market indicators have been hit. Meanwhile, fear and greed index is sitting at 27, not great. Meanwhile, we had outflows in both ETFs yesterday. Not huge, by the way. It was only 100 million. So we're still doing pretty well overall if you just zoom out a little bit. But you can't like what you see right here on this sheet. This sheet is showing you what's been going on for the last, 10 days or 9 days? What do we do? 9 or 10 days? 9 days. Yeah. For the last 9 days, we've had 7 outflow days and we've only had 2 inflow days. Those 2 inflow days were 600 million, but that means that we're out about 400 million for the week, maybe 500 million for the week. So that's not a great number. It's not a great sign, but we're up 62 billion overall. So I think, by the way, 62.22 billion right now. So I think that we're fine. It's just, again, it's not the greatest look for the moment. So we'll keep watching that. And if something changes, then I will let you guys. Also, subscribe to the channel. Go to terracasino.io for all your risk-based gaming. Also, hey, Crypto Princess in the house. We got a legend here. Crypto Princess, this is Throwback Thursday. We're asking, what was the first crypto you ever bought? So put in here, what was the first crypto that you ever bought? Now, Terraport.finance if you're looking for any utility coins or meme coins in the Terra Classic universe. By the way, I'm possibly partnered up with a few more of the projects in the Terra Classic ecosystem. I will let you know very, very soon. Bitcoin is clearly becoming the leader in this. Bitcoin, first purchase was Bitcoin. So anybody else, what is your first crypto purchase? Shiba Inu has been a hot one. Ethereum is obviously a hot one because a lot of us are swapping degen plays and stuff like that. So you have to have Ethereum, or you had to have Ethereum when you got into the market. Bitcoin is also one that I think is leading the pack right now. Also, we had a couple for Saitama, oddly enough. All right, Dev, don't have an update on anything going on in Dev right now. They are being very, very quiet. Again, I don't, you can say that positively and you can say calm before the storm, or you can look at it negative, that they don't have anything to go on and they're just waiting quietly. Here's what I would say to that. Oh, by the way, for those of you that are keeping track of basketball, the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, Chauncey Billups, was arrested by the feds for having poker games with the mafia. Unbelievable. And I think Terry Rozier, former player for the Louisville Cardinals, is also mixed up in this mess. Unbelievable what's happening right there. So whatever, you know what I mean? GM Zombie was Bitcoin as well, though I was mining ETH. Anyway, so Dev, I think they're going to have a move. Again, you can look at it positive or negative. You know what I mean? I don't know. Also, Roy G brings up something important, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. But Right Wing has turned on their market maker. Right Wing right now is up 50% in the last 24 hours, having a nice little reversal right here, breaking out up a pretty good amount. I mean, that's 50% in one day. If you bought the dip, if you bought the bottom of this range right now, then you got to be feeling pretty good about that. Maybe it's time for you to get on the right side of history. By the way, this is their site for right now. Really, the site is just, there we go. Instagram. And by the way, look at that handsome devil right there talking about the right wing. Guys, if you're not part of the right wing, you're in the wrong wing. So get yourself a bag of right before it's too late. Pump, I'm going to put that into the chat, by the way, right there. All right, so if you're looking for it, then that is the right there. Again, it's up 50% right now. So if you got a nice move right there, then take your profit along the way. If you are, if not, I would suspect here, and I'm just going to give you a number here, that the potential exists for it to come up into this range right here at about 34. See it reject off of that range. Now there's another range right there with a tiny bit of trade volume that also happened, and it was right here. So you could see it maybe just go to that level as well, which is kind of in that 26. But that right there is another 60% away. So that would be 25%, 30% away. So that could be another big, a big move right there. Morgan is asking the question, when Dev blows up, are you still selling at 50? Absolutely. What I'm going to do, my full intention at $50 is to sell all my Dev, but 5,000 of it. Originally, I was going to do like 2,000 or 3,000 because I thought, in the event that something crazy happens and it goes to that Ethereum level market cap or even a Solana level market cap, and it goes 20x from there, that I wanted to have a little bit of extra skin in the game. So originally I thought maybe 2,000, maybe 3,000, just so, one day I'll be one of those whales that I've got a couple thousand Dev and it's trading at $1,000 or $2,000. And then I could just cash out 50 of them at a time to buy myself a new car or something, something ridiculous, just bougie bullshit. But I decided I'm going to just leave 5,000 in. I'm just going to go long on it and see what happens, and just sort of leave it in there. So I'm going to keep, basically I'm going to leave 10% of what I've got in there just to see what happens. So, but after that, I'm going to take the money and I'm going to change my life. So that's the goal anyway. All right. So buy yourself some right token. Otherwise you're wrong. As far as the rest of the market goes, I mean, we're looking pretty good. COAI up 50%, hype up 12.7%. Nothing really exploding and completely breaking out right now. KTA 22%. Soros down 30% on the day. MET 180% on the day. XPen up 85% on the day. By the way, I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm going to tell you guys this. We're going to see this right here on Dev pretty soon, every day. We're going to see it like every day for a few days in a row. You're going to see just big move after big move after big move. I assure you, it is coming. The rest of the market, looking around, ACT 31%, YB 24%. Nothing really setting the world on fire. Let's look at some charts just a little bit. We're up $60 billion on the day, but we really, zoom out here. We're barely up off of our negative day that we had yesterday. We've had two big negative days in a row. We had a little bit of a push back upwards. Now, the one thing that we can say that is bullish, long-term still bearish to me, but bullish right here is that we've got an uptrend clearly happening right now, which means that a potential breakout is possibly playing out. We're at the top of the range right now. A nice little breakout above 3.73 trillion, which is your volume node right there, would be a good sign of investor confidence coming into play. So what we're going to need to see is we're going to need to see a break above, probably a break above on this to the 50 MA into this range right here. Then we get a little bit of a break back down. We get right about there. So back to about 3.66, 3.65, something like that. And then bam, we get a break above the 50 MA, and then we get an absolute breakout from there. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I want to see play out right now. But there's a lot of moving parts to that. So hopefully that's what we get to see. I think the market is ready for that next leg. However, what do we have to look at in order to make that sort of indication here? Well, let's put out two things. We're going to put the MACD, which is starting to look like it's moving back into the positive. So that means a potential breakout could be coming. And the RSI is looking pretty low at around 40 right now, which means that it's in the accumulation zone. The last time it hit this range right here, we got this big move right there. Before that, we hit that range right there, and boom, we had a nice big breakout. Before that, we had this move right here down into this range, and then boom, we had this breakout. So there's big breakouts that happen on this RSI when we get down into this range, and we're doing the crossover right here pretty deep. So there could be a nice big move coming up pretty soon. We got Tom Collide in the house saying, I built a new crypto gaming platform, win by skill, not by chance. Crypto gaming just became cool. Randomevo.com. Guys, go check out randomevo.com. Tom Collide, if you guys don't remember, even made a song for me at one point for the intro. So just check it out. And Brian just got some right token. Let's see what happens with the right, man. I think that the right wing, when things start to break, when political memes start to come back around, something with the name right is going to, in my opinion, is going to be right for an absolute breakout. By the way, OM is pumping kind of hard right now. It's up almost 10% in a few minutes. Let's break down a little bit about Bitcoin here. Again, 200 to 100, or 200 to 50. We're looking at a play back up here into this range right there at 114,000, back up to the top of the 50 MA. We're looking for a breakout above, and then we're looking for a test right there at 120, and then possibly a break to 135,000. Maybe we'll see something like that happen. That's what I'm looking for, but not this, not at this point. I'm kind of fingers crossed on it. Ethereum is doing the same thing that Bitcoin's doing. We're getting that higher low right there, but we're getting that consolidation in range right there. We've got the little arrowhead pattern playing out right now for the Chiefs. Does that annoy you when I say the Chiefs? By the way, I'm not a fan of the Chiefs. I just like annoying people. So it looks like maybe a reversal is on the horizon. Early to tell. We got to see a breakout. Binance looks like it's about to bounce off of the 50 MA. That's a pretty bullish breakout. If you break out above the 50 and then you maintain above the 50, you're probably going to go up to 1,500. So next target for BNB could be around 1,500. Doesn't mean it's not going to break down after that or break down before that, but it looks pretty good right now. Solana was moving aggressively up 6% today. Remember, the one problem that you have with Solana, guys, you have to pay attention to this. The amount of supply of Solana is greatly increased. There is more circulating supply now than there was back in the old days. Remember, in the old days, it went up to $295, okay? Almost $300. We were like, wow, this is incredible. It's going crazy, blah, 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 blah. There's like 20% more Solana in circulation now that was not in circulation then. So when it hit its market cap high, the all-time high is right here when it hit 250. Okay, that is nonsense. Okay, 253.61 was what it hit on that secondary bounce right there. Again, it was near 300. Then it ended up at 250, but its market cap was higher. So be very careful here. I'm getting a little bearish on Solana pumping super hard, because again, it's just a degen gambling platform at the moment. And, too many people are getting wrecked in that situation. We need a couple runners, basically. What we need a couple of runners, not Aster. Okay. Not Aster. We need 15 different Asters where a bunch of people that are degens make a bunch of money to start doing this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's when we'll start to see something happen. By the way, if you guys did not, go check out Mantra. DJ and Brian got some Mantra. I'm at Meteora. Get some Meteora. Check that one out. I don't know anything about it. Haven't looked at it. So I don't know enough about Meteora, but if Brian says it's good enough for me. Link not moving today. XRP not moving today. SWE up a little bit. Avalanche up a little bit. Near H-bar barely moving. Arrow not moving very much at all. Up 1.5%. Pendle up 3%. By the way, when Arrow and Pendle are moving, that usually means that lending protocols, and that means RWA, are probably in the mix there. Also, OM is now up 9.5%. Something is going on with OM in this hour, actually. Okay, so something is going on with OM in this hour. It went up to the 200 MA on the 1 hour chart. Like, ugh. So, probably need to break above that. If otherwise, it's just going to come back down. I don't see a reason for it to do that. Dev down 2% today. Definity down 20% today. dumped a little bit hard right there. API 3 up 2% today. Again, everything else just kind of ranging. Now, one thing that I do want to point out is that I just saw something that Aerodrome or Aave. Aave is teaming up with Maple Finance Syrup. They're going to do some kind of, I don't know what kind of business they're doing, but that seems like a merger or a match made in heaven for lending and borrowing. So I would be watching, probably not Aave, because I think the market cap is a little bit too high, excuse me. But Maple Finance might be some opportunity right there. Terra Luna Classic up 1% on the day, not really having a great breakout sort of day, but still up on the day. Again, on the 1 hour, it looks like it's trying its best to break out and get a little positive. We got a golden cross over here at 4,000, and it ran up to 5,000. So if you're trading golden crosses, this wasn't a bad move right here. If you bought it right there at 4,200, it just absolutely ripped up there to 5,000, which is 20% gain. Who couldn't use 20%? You know what I mean? So also for Lunk, market module, the market module, that's going to be coming very, very soon. And I think that's going to be the shift that we've been looking for. Also, for anybody who was wondering whether I was going to be right about Aster, haha. I told you where your entry was. I told you, and then of course, I gave it to you a long time before. And then what happened? It bounced up to $1.60. If you didn't take your money, that's on you. Then it came back down and it used it as support. And now it's using it as resistance. It will break back out and it will do another big test. But BNB and Aster, by the way, are done for the moment. Just so you guys know, I'm not saying that you can't make money there. I'm not saying that, I'm not saying anything bad about it. Also, all I'm saying is that narrative is dying right now. So the most likely scenario that you see play out is lighter maybe takes off or hype goes up again as people rotate their money around. But the BNB narrative, the BNB volume, all that kind of shit just died very quickly. So I think we're done with that one. You might see, by matter of fact, the rotation probably goes back to Solana. I think we've been seeing little pops of Solana. And in fact, Solana's up 5.5% today. So most likely we're going to see a Solana altcoin season. As far as the rest of the market goes over here, let's look at it on a percentage basis. Right wing up 52% now. Volt is up 22% right now. I'm talking to the guys in the Volt, the XVM Volt, not the VOLT one. XVM, it looks like they're about to run it back. They've got some big announcement that they're planning on making very soon, that the chefs have been cooking, as people like to say. Also, Mantra up 10%. TAR's up another 5%. TAR's got a long way to go to break back out. And look, by the way, for anybody who's looking at TARs and saying, oh my God, why are you not pumping? The rest of the market is not pumping either. It's not TARs. It's everything. So Fias, same thing. Fias just, it's so hard. Like when it comes down into this range, like you really should just set yourself, if you're looking for Fias right now, use like Uniswap. I think you can set bids. Set yourself a bid at 1.6 cents on Fias. Put a couple $1,000s into Fias at 1.6 cents, and it tends to run back up here to 2.2 cents. That's not a huge make, but that's about 30% or 40%. Just set yourself a bid at 1.6 cents, and then set yourself an ask at 2.2 cents, and you probably will hit a good, you probably make a good amount off of that in a very quick, you know what I mean? Yeah, the hype is over for Aster. It doesn't mean that it won't circle back around. It just means that for right now, it's taking a breather. Bonk dead even, Volt dead even, API 3 dead even, Dev down about 2% right now, Blocky down 2%, Definity down 8%, Meme Link down 15%, and Accelerate is no longer accelerating. It's now acceler dumping. We made our money. I told you guys what was going to happen. I told you what it would need to do, which was this over here. What it did instead was dump all the way down to the bottom of the range, taking it back up. You're seeing it play out the way I'm telling you it's going to play out. if you want to, if you're looking for an opportunity here, then my recommendation to you is set a bid at 0.004 one more time right here on this line at 0.004. Set yourself a bid because that's your range, right? That's the spot you're supposed to protect. Set a bid at 0.004 and then set yourself an ask at 0.006. That's a 50% profit. That's easy money. Okay. My opinion, I'm not sure it's going to play out that way, but that could be some easy money for you in a very short period of time. Okay. But again, the shine off of Exceller is also dumping too. You know what? Penguin, you got me curious right now. Randomevo.com. Let's see what it looks like. All right. So, or to be paid, the Ethereum address used for payment and the Ethereum address unit for the term. Nope, just practice. We're just going to practice here. Into the wallet. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. All right. Well, I suck at this. I definitely suck at this. It's actually pretty funny. There it is. Oh, son of a bitch. There we go. I think I got one in. Nope. Son of a bitch. I didn't get one in. Okay. So it's a time waster. It's definitely a time waster. God damn it. Well, now it's just annoying the shit out of me. Anyway, so yeah, there's some time wasters. It's still gambling. Of course, it's still gambling, but it's a time waster. So anyway, back to Xceller. That's what should have happened. What didn't happen, that means that we're probably looking at some downward momentum. Doesn't mean you can't make money, but I would look at that range right there at 0.004, 0.006, and that's where I would make the money. Now, as far as volume goes, indexes over the last 24 hours, now we see how far the mighty have fallen. 5 billion almost for Solana yesterday, 5 billion almost for Ethereum yesterday, and BSC back down to 3 billion. So every day we're seeing that decline in BSC. So the hype is over there. Now base is almost 2 billion. So base is still continuing to perform. The hype though on BSC seems to be down. So I'd say that narrative is over and due for a rotation. And that rotation, of course, obviously is back into Solana. Now, the question, of course, is do I still hold Definity? Yeah, I still hold it. I haven't sold my Definity. I'm looking, by the way, I'm supposed to look, I'll tell you guys what's going on with Definity for clarity's sake. Okay. I was reached out and they were supposed to pay me for 2 months because I continued talking about them for a while. So they were supposed to give me more tokens for a 2-month window instead of just a month. And I said, okay, cool. And they never sent the tokens and I haven't got a reply yet. So that's why I'm still holding it. By the way, the reason that I'm still holding it is I got their data and they have a data sheet that shows how much volume they were trading the month before. They made $600,000 in the month of, I think it's September, something like that. They made an incredible amount of money, profit, not trading, profit. They made an incredible amount of profit, like months and months and months in a row from Forex trading. I told you guys Forex trading was gigantic. Well, then I discovered, then I started to pay attention. I'm like, well, why is if they're making so much money, why is the crypto not pumping? Because the crypto is not tied to anything right now. And the people who are trading Forex, they have no idea that there's even a crypto that's attached to it because it's not being used properly for anything. So and by the way, they recognize that and they realize that and they want to do something about that, which means to me that they're going to first of all, they have the finance to do something about it. And secondly, that creates an opportunity for them to create a need for that coin or token. And I think that's a good, so I think there's going to be a pump out of it. I think that we're going to see a remarkable move. You know, I want to see this thing go back up to about a 30 million market cap, maybe a quick little 10x or something that'll reestablish people looking at it like, oh my God, do you know what I mean? So, and they could manufacture that at this point, by the way, if you look at the market, if you look at where they are, if you look at where Definity really kind of sitting right now, right here, it's only 111,000 in liquidity and a $3 million market cap. So when you look at it from that context, to me, they could run this thing back up to 8 cents with their own initiative. And if they could break somehow, if they, and I mean, by they, I mean the team, if the team can get marketing, can get everything lined up to get above, let's call it 7 cents. Let's not say 8 cents. If you can get above 7 cents and then you can get a test on a breakout from there, if you could get a test on a breakout from there, then guess what? You're going to start going absolutely crazy. And does it reach another all-time high? I doubt that. That was a gigantic all-time high. I don't think that that's on the table at this point, but I think you can get a nice little breakout right here. So we'll see whether or not they're, you know, we'll see if it's serious or not. But again, I'm looking for it to, that's a 4x from where we are right now, which I would say is a pretty good run. That's 400% gain. We get a 400% gain and then a break above, then investor confidence gets instilled. But again, what does the coin or the token do? And that's still kind of in limbo. That's really the problem, is that it's just kind of in limbo, trying to figure out what they're doing with it. But again, the dollar volume that they're trading right now is obscene. I mean, it really is obscene. They trade a lot. So anyway, when I hear something, I will let you know. Otherwise, I'm holding it. I'm just holding it quietly. So that's the show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys taking the time to come check me out. Again, for anybody who's still looking and watching at the end here, the question of the day, leave it in the comment section, is what is the first crypto that you ever bought? By the way, Friday is going to be, I think, Finance Friday. So I'm going to ask you how much money you've made in crypto, not how much you've lost. So if you bought Bitcoin at 10,000 and it ran up to 50,000 and you made $40,000, okay, tell me 40,000. Now, if it went to 50,000 and then you bought it at 50,000 and went back down to 30,000, you lost 20,000, I don't need to know that. Just show me how much did you make off of your big wins. And I know most of you are going to be able to do that. You guys are going to be able to think about that and give me how much money you think you've made overall in crypto with all of your wallets over the years. This is not financial advice, but I'm always.
They call me please, I'll do anything.